Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to another Wednesday. We are waiting for my co-host, the Game Hopper, here to get me relocated in the Discord channel here. But welcome. Hope you all had a wonderful week. Hope everything is going swell for you all. We got an interesting set of topics to talk about here tonight. So sit back, relax. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Get everything set up as we always do. You know, take our time to deal with the changes in our scenes and overlays and all those fun things that we always have to go through. What it seems like every week for some reason, but that's how it goes. He's already got me somewhat situated here.
I honestly don't even know.
What is going on, Hopper?
He briefly mentioned it to me, but my brain is like a really small sponge. The absorbency of it is non-existent.
A really small sponge? Is that what we're classifying you as now?
That's my brain, is a very small sponge. For certain stuff. Other things, it's like a freaking bucket. I just have to find it. It's in there somewhere. I just have to find it.
I have all this knowledge that I don't know what to do with, right?
Yeah.
Be a simple. So I got two. I've got one that we discussed in advance, and I got another one for you. So
Perfect.
We'll be good.
All right. You know me, I'm gonna have an opinion regardless
of
I'm
what
prepared for it or not. I'm ready.
You'll make up the opinion as you go. This is what it is. I don't even care.
I have all the substantiated evidence I need. I came prepared. I should play Phasmophobia and talk like Letterkenny. I don't know about that, man. I'm too busy getting the piss scared out of me to keep accents going. I'm drinking some classic Yingling right now.
Classic Yinglings. Look at that, man. Oh my goodness.
Feels like a throwback to the pool hall.
I haven't seen. Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't seen a classic Yingling. Yeah. Like I haven't. My dad drinks Yingling. I guess if I'm not providing the beer, I think if he goes out and buys it, he either buys Yingling or Corona.
You can't go wrong with a Yingling. It's like the one, like, I'm gonna call it a cheap beer, just because I guess it's more very mainstream. But it'd be my go-to if I had to pick one.
Don't you hate though? Don't you hate when you go to like a restaurant and Yingling's considered it's a craft beer?
Oh yeah.
I'm not paying $7 when I could buy it.
Especially down here for us, because there's the brewery in Tampa. Like, you can't tell me it's craft when you're getting it shipped to you from like 10 miles away, like making it by the boatload. Whatever. Yeah, the craft lists in some places are real questionable.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I know
pay for it anyways.
Yeah, you're gonna pay for it anyways because you want it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what we're gonna do.
Yeah, they got you. They got you, and they know it.
All right, you ready?
All right, man. Yeah, you tee us off, and that's when I know to shut up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of What the Wednesday. I believe we're on episode 29. I don't know. The numbers are getting too high.
Almost dirty 30.
The numbers are getting high that I'm actually having to think about it. You know, as we're going into the end of each week here. You know, I'm trying to keep track. What'll be really cool? What'll be really cool is what was it like? I think it was like episode 25. I actually started to begin to regrow the beard. So like it's actually starting to. It's actually starting to fill in again, and I'm getting kind of excited about it. I got oils and all that kind of stuff to keep from getting too itchy. Yeah, all that fun stuff. So we'll see in the future exactly how big I let it get before I just go and shave it way down. And of course, I decided to kind of start growing it right in the middle of summer in Florida. Right?
Yeah, so wrong season to get the face melter going, but it is what it is. I can only take mine so far before. Yeah, I just needed to I don't know, calm it down is the right word, but. Part of it too is just it's hot, and you're right. It was getting hot. It was too hot on my face. I was like, no, I can't do this. So, keep the cleaner look.
So other than the heat starting to build up here at home, what's the word for the past week? How's your week been, Dusty?
It's been good, man. A lot of pool. Honestly, I don't know. Man. My arms are definitely a little red.
Okay, so we're talking about water and not billiards.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not billiards. No, we gotta get out and play some of that pool soon. But spent the day in Tampa yesterday visiting family before she goes back up north, so that was nice. Unfortunately, I had to cancel the stream, but some things are more important. It wasn't going to be that person like, hey, you should probably leave now. I got to go home and stream. It's like, nah, I hadn't seen her in 10 years. Literally, one of my cousins.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. There's value in that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
I'm the first person.
I'm
the first person to tell you there's tons of value in that family side. So
yeah, You never cancel for your family. What are you talking about? But it's been a good week. Honestly, the weather's been beautiful. No rain or anything like that. So no complaints down here.
No rain for you? Dude, I was concerned. I was concerned like literally 5 minutes before I hit the go live button.
Really?
I had this nasty thunder coming crashing down. So by the way, before we get too far into the stream tonight or the podcast in general, if I get disconnected randomly for some unknown reason, then the heavens hath broken up and decided to shut off my power or internet for some unknown reason. I don't know.
Crash beforehand, and then
just
camera
you see my camera. Yeah, you see this big white flash come through as the lightning comes in, like literally strikes me live on stream. Yeah, that'd be great.
Dude, man, you would go viral in an instant. Though,
that would be the clip of the century.
Not worth it, but
it's not worth it.
How'd you get famous on the internet? I got struck by lightning.
That's assuming you survive.
If you survive, it's a story to talk about for sure. Like, I'd be right on the next day, ready to go. Get all the good, like, struck by lightning jokes you could come up with and just be reading them off all night long,
All right.
What about you, man? How's life been?
It's this week. So after my my trial experience last week.
Duty.
Yeah, after my trial experience last week, coming back to work this week was all hell broke loose. So it's been a pretty hectic week. I've been super busy.
You're
but
actually back in the physical office now too, right?
A little bit here and there. I was remote, so it's like it's a mixed schedule, right? Most businesses today, which is super nice still, right? Most businesses today, I think a lot of people are still doing flex schedules. I do 1 week I do 2 days in the office, the other week I do 3, and it's always like Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right, kind of thing. So I always have Thursday, Friday at home still. So
so you're still getting nice long weekends in a sense, kind of as far as away from.
And it still cuts back on gas and all that kind of stuff. So it's nice to be able to do that every once in a while.
Can't complain about that, especially the prices going up a little bit lately.
I know. Talk about that. Gas prices for no reason. No reason.
Yeah, no reason.
Like, oh, actually, probably the Suez Canal. They predicted that. That's what happened. They were like, hey, all of our gas is going to get stuck, so we're just going to start raising prices before.
Shutting down that pipeline was an unfortunate thing too.
Yeah,
up in Canada, but
yep. So
right. That is the theme of the week. If you think you're having a bad time, just be happy you're not the guy who was driving the boat.
Just be glad you're not the skipper of that tanker.
It'll brighten you right up. Oh, is it still in P?
No.
Everything?
No. It's out. They broke it loose. They break it loose yesterday? I think it was yesterday it broke loose.
That would have been interesting to watch. I'd like to watch a time lapse of that.
They had to basically flood the canal or something, or float they said they had to float the boat, but I was like, that's what they're supposed to do. So I don't know what the term necessarily meant. But apparently they got like half of it. Like they got like half of it at one time and they started to turn it and then they had to get the other half. And I was like, it'd be a cool thing from like, I guess from like a physics or like an engineering perspective of thinking like, who's the guy that drew up the plan, right? Like the blueprints on, okay, this is how we fix this type of a problem. Like, who's that guy?
Guy you call when you have a boat turned over in a canal? Like, who's the... So like Mark Wahlberg, there's an action film being created for this somewhere.
At some point in time. At some point in time, we'll see it, I'm sure.
He did that oil rig one. That was a cool movie. All right. Let's get back on topic here, right?
Getting a little too far. Episode
29, we're saying? That's what we're going with?
Episode 29. So, something that's been popping up recently, and so we've got two topics here tonight. The first one being MCNs and their value to YouTube, and the second being why are gamers such sheep? and yes, and we'll get into that one. I thought of this one like as I was hitting the go live button. I was like, "Ooh, I want to talk about this tonight."
I like it.
I want to talk about this one tonight. So
not controversial at all.
So I want to start out with the MCN thing.
Yeah.
So there was a video again. We're chasing right now. I feel like the past couple of weeks, it's just been not controversial topics week after week, but just good topics that I felt like there's value to cut in on, even after the fact from Harris Heller's channel, right? Alpha Gaming.
Yeah.
And this is another one that he distributed because Mr. Beast came out
Ooh.
and announced that he is going to invest upward to $200 million
Woo!
into YouTube channels, basically buy a portion of your brand in order to help coach and help, invest and give you value, give you some liquid cash to help get stuff to generate revenue for your own channel, right? And he's going to buy like a portion of your channel. And Harris even goes to a point to explain that I think he said at one time he had up to as much as, and I might be misquoting this, but at one time I think he said he had up to as much as 60% of the Alpha Gaming channel was owned by investors. I think it was something along the line. I think it was something where like he still had 40% as the majority, and then like one person had 30 and another person had 15 and another person, like there was some split there to the value, but I think he still had majority share, but it's just the way it's broken up. And it was just a really, really interesting discussion for me to kind of think again. A lot of kids today and a lot of even young adults, I don't even want to say kids, right? Even young adults are people that are like, I'm going to create a YouTube channel and I'm going to make revenue and I'm going to do something here that I think that it could be my future, right? People, either kids in high school, young kids, like we talked in the past, Riley keeps saying, I want to be a YouTuber, right? But speaking of it in this way, to me, really puts an interesting spin on it, that you're adding the concept of splitting, like actually, we always talk about valuing a brand, right? Yeah. Adding value to a brand and taking that value and actually distributing it and saying, like, if I value my brand at $500,000 and you want to come in and help, invest in my company, if you want to buy 40% of that, right? Here's 200 grand. Math in my head, 200 grand, right? You give me $200,000, I'll give you 40% of my revenue for the foreseeable future until I buy you back out, right? Whatever that value becomes in the future, right? And it was just a really interesting concept to take this digital entity, which, YouTube is a digital entity, right? There's no majority of companies or people or businesses don't have, like dedicated office space, and they don't have these, big LLCs or incorporated, or they don't carry inventory, they don't carry assets, it's just a very, very different kind of mindset to what like these become as a business. And it was interesting to hear that, this was going to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because we're creating a brand, which in its sense, it's its own company, its own entity. And, that's what you do in the business world is if you don't have the money to fund yourself, you preach what your brand is, what you're going to be selling, be it entertainment, products, whatever, and you get people to fund, hedge funds, venture capitalists, all that stuff. Because those people are always looking for opportunities to throw money at. So it's brilliant, especially Mr. Beast being a content creator himself, definitely can judge the value of somebody else's content a lot better than some some suit out in Silicon Valley.
Right. And that was the thing. So and that led into the whole discussion of the value of MCNs on YouTube and what they actually do. And for those who don't understand MCNs or aren't familiar with them, because I even going into this, I had to look it up and kind of figure it out. It stands for multi-channel networks. Right. Ooh. So if you were to imagine what Twitch has created through stream teams, or the Twitch culture has created through stream teams, it's almost the same type of concept, right? Where you have a big channel that exists, and that big channel goes out to smaller channels and says, hey, you give me 50% of your revenue and I'll put you on my channel. Right. And basically all my subscribers will have the ability to see your content. You can still have your own videos. You can still have that, but you're going to be able to be like connected to my channel. And it becomes, again, this almost like, I don't want to call it a pyramid scheme, but almost something along that line, right? Where you break it down and these people are signing contracts with these large channels to try to get in and get more exposure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely, I wouldn't directly related to a pyramid scheme just because, they want you to succeed. There's not really upfront money they're getting from you. They're giving it to you and hoping that you return their investment. So that to me is what's nicer about it too, is obviously they're invested in you succeeding. They don't want to see you fail, because if you fail, that means they've wasted money that they're not going to recoup. Again, depending on how the contract is written, don't ever sign anything where you're taking money with the promise of like, no matter what happens, there's got to be some, if it falls apart completely, I just walk away and it is what it is. But I love the idea. I mean, I think a lot of the content creators that get big, things you don't know about them is that they usually have some sort of media group that they put their brand under. Like I think Linus Tech Tips has LMG, which is his Linus Media Group that his channel falls under, among other people that he helps out. And there's lots of groups like that. Good Mythical Morning, it's a big channel I watch on YouTube. They have a mythical media or something that manages an umbrella of other channels. So definitely, it's out there. It's something we don't hear about a lot, but it makes perfect sense. I'd love to go to somebody and try to sell my brand and see what they value me at, and
yeah, so
get a helping hand.
So it's interesting a concept, right? Like you would want to say that this is a good idea. Like I agree. Like the biggest one that pops out to me is the Think Media Group. I can't remember the guy who the primary guy who runs it, or the face of Think Media, but they're a big like YouTube growth, YouTube content. What's the better camera, kind of content, right? And they have like, it's like 10 of them, right? And those 10 all have their individual YouTube channels, and then they also have content that they distribute through Think Media, which is the big channel that kind of generates the most revenue. Now, I guess that's where like all these contracts and various other things come into play, right? If it's 10 friends that start this thing up together, who gets revenue for what video and what percentage and blah, 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 right? It gets into a very weird dynamic at that point. And where it kind of gets sketchy or scary, I guess, is those who prey on small channels, right? Yeah. Where you've always heard the horror stories about streaming contracts and bad streaming contracts getting into place, and people signing agreements for 10 years or 5 years or however long, right? You're signing more than whatever, and you're not getting any additional value out of basically. What was it? Who was the one where they bought like there was one company out there, I can't remember the name, but they bought like the entire brand, and it was like, we'll pay you $50,000 a year, but we get like 100% of your revenue or something like that. And at the time, the guy was getting like, I forgot what it was. The guy was getting like $5,000 a month or whatever. And so he's like, $50K, huge, right? That's 1,000% what I'm making right now, right? Why wouldn't I sign this deal? And then all of a sudden he like exploded and he was making like 5 times that amount or something, right? And now all of a sudden he's like, now I'm getting, none of it is mine. I'm getting super shafted, right, at that point. And he got locked into that for like 3 or 4 years. And like, those are the horror stories that you hear about. And you made that reference to contract reviews in the beginning, but
yeah,
it's just one of those weird, I guess it's a weird area to kind of see that you don't really think that, as big, you would have to, how am I trying to word this? Knowing what you know about YouTube and the size of it, you have to know that things like this exist, right? Like situations like this exist, and groups like this exist, because you can't get to the size that you get today without it on accident, right? Like it just doesn't work that way. Like you really have to think like that.
It's like getting struck by lightning,
Yeah. Yeah,
go back to that.
Yeah, it's a virility is not sustainable, right? We've talked about that in the past too. Like, yeah, your channel can blow up, but as soon as you don't put out a second video, it's not going anywhere.
And too, like, I don't know, the viral stuff, it never really seems to relate directly to people's content. It's just a moment, be it falling out of a chair or something silly happening that just, blows up, and people go, hey, that's funny. I'm gonna click the follow for this person's channel while I'm here, and if you got to make sure, I'm not going to say you have to make sure you keep moments like that happening, but you have to have a plan in place to keep the growth, right? As we always talk about, for those to sustain growth as it comes your ways, you have to be prepared to level up your content. And it's a lot, man. And the contract stuff we talked about before, have an agent at that point. Like, if you don't know anything about contracts, never sign anything without a professional reading that thing line for line, because you can screw yourself over, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once you sign that line, whatever's written in there goes, and that's it. Yeah, in any type of content creation, I wouldn't sign anything more than a year. I feel like you never know.
You
never
so
know what can happen.
So speaking on that alone, like signing a contract for a year, that's even a commitment. I mean, like I could see maybe like a brand sponsorship or something like that, right? Maybe like signing a contract with Logitech for like 2-3 years or something like that, like like a tried and true company or something like that. But you're gonna walk out with some of these smaller companies, some of these smaller businesses that are what's the one keyboard manufacturer that claims to have great stuff, but it's like Red Dragon or something like that.
Oh,
like it's
God, yeah, the Amazon
trash. It's like a generic brand, and sure, some of their product is probably decent entry level,
probably mediocre.
Yeah, it's probably decent entry level stuff, right? And they've probably got a diamond out there in the rough somewhere, right? But if somebody's going to come to you and say, "Hey, we want you to sign a deal with this company for 5 years," and that company disappears, or that company stops making product, right? And then you're stuck with product. Like the company doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So you're still under contract, but at some point the product goes away, and then you're stuck with product, and you're not allowed to endorse others, and you lock yourself in, and it's just this very weird space to be in.
Very much so.
Yeah. I do.
I mean, there's no bad side to it though. The whole media group stuff. Like, I think if you have the opportunity to team up with people in any capacity, monetary driven or not, it can be good for your content. Again, you want to make sure you're finding the right people, but I don't know. To me, that's the route I'd much rather go than joining these stream teams and orgs and stuff that promise stuff, but it's like, what's really on the line for them? Nothing, Right. It would retweets and things and calling it support, which
you just have to.
It's great and all, but
you'd have to make sure. I think the way you'd have to tie that in is you'd have to make sure that there was some legitimacy to their claim. Right, that they're here to help you, right? Like obviously, if it's, I'm gonna throw Tfue out there, right? If Tfue were to come behind and say, "Hey," and nothing against Tfue, right? I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything. I'm just picking a name. Tfue comes out here and says, "Hey, if you give me, you give me 50% of your channel value, I'll put you on here and I'll mentor you and I'll coach you and I'll do this other kind of stuff. Here, sign this deal," and then all of a sudden, you don't read the contract, and the contract is not as quite as stringent. It's still the 50% value, but he has no commitments to give you anything, right? Like the way it's written out, it's very verbose that, like it's, when he's available, when he does this, whatever. And then next thing you know, you're shelling out 50% of your revenue for literally nothing. Like he doesn't do any promotion for you. He doesn't help you at all. There's no growth. There's no anything, but
That's when it becomes a pyramid scheme, right?
Right. You're shelling out 50% for nothing at that point. You're like, well, what did I do? Right. Like why did I do that?
Yeah. And there needs to be incentives for both parties and stuff.
Right.
Like that.
Right. I think that's where I mentioned, like, when they start preying on people like that, and you always have those types of organizations that do that, right?
For sure. It's gonna happen.
Somebody who tries to take advantage of it. I mean, we see it in every industry in the world, but that's kind of how that.
There's a way to make money. People are going to try.
By the way, as a side note, this will be our segue. Okay. Two things. First thing, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are watching live and or listening to this in the future, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for everything you guys do for us. Subscribers, followers, patrons, whatever you are. Discord members, especially, all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting us. I'm sure Hopper's got something else to say along that line.
I mean, just the combined force of 1,000+ people in both our communities combined. It's it's a fantastic group of awesome people doing amazing things to support us every day. And just know we appreciate it. We love you guys. Keep it up, and we promise to keep doing cool things for you.
And thank you. That was our shameless plug of the night. Woo! Shameless plug done. The second one. Let's talk about how Harris Heller is he's always talked about he has an agent that manages his sponsorships, and but he has to approve each sponsor that comes through and stuff like that. At least in the past, he said that. Tell me how he has a ad for male pattern baldness.
Does he? And again, I can't sit here and justify and say he's just trying to get the extra cash, because he is raking it in from streaming.
Oh yeah, I know. He's already getting it, but it's one of those like,
is he doing it for shits and giggles? Like,
is he really losing his, like, you've got a
they're spinning that up there. I'll give him that.
What video? I forget what video. I think it was the microphone review video or something like that. And then all of a sudden, do you have male pattern baldness? I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what is that? Why?
He's trying to tend to his older audience, man. Maybe he's finding out a lot of people watching his channel are like 30 and up.
Well, I don't know. I was figuring it out, right? Did he just turn 30? I think he just turned 30.
Man, what a poor man.
I think he turned 30, I think he turned 30 in 2020. Maybe he's 31. But I was like, man, I mean, I don't think I'm losing. I mean, I don't think mine's that bad, but
yeah,
I was like, if he's sponsoring, I didn't listen. I'll be honest, I didn't listen to the full advertisement. I kind of like started hitting the right arrow key as he started talking about it.
Oh, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I was like, eh. So I should have waited to see if it was like, I'm not only a spokesperson, I'm a member or something. Like one of those things, right? That would have been great. Oh my God, that would have been amazing. But
I think before we go on to the final topic as well, I think just as streamers, we just need to quickly talk about, have you been watching or know the Ludwig situation right now? What's going on with him?
No, what happened?
His super subathon he's doing?
No.
I think he's been live for 20 days? It was 2 weeks. A couple days ago. I want to say he's day 20.
Is he
He's down to the final hour right now, but it keeps hovering above the hour. But from this right now, he has, I think he's at 155,000 active subs, current subs.
So
he's pushing towards the Ninja. What Ninjas was what 270?
I don't know. The biggest
ever? I forget.
Who was the guy that streamed for like? Who has the record for like the most streamed days or something like that?
Oh, I think there was a guy that did it for 28 days out of 30 or something.
Something like that.
Hour-wise. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a record in that sense, but it's the sub count that's been killing it. 'Cause, dude, you know how me and Q have talked about subathons before, and like you kind of value what your time is worth. His thing is something, it was every 6 subs was a minute or something like that. Added to 10 seconds per sub or something like that.
Yeah, 10 seconds per sub.
So like he's valuing like each minute of his is like $20.
Well, no, because see, each minute is 6 subs at whatever his say. We'll say his sub's worth $4 a sub. Yeah. We'll say it's worth $4 a sub, right? So
yeah, it's $24 a minute.
Yeah, $24 a minute. So he's valuing himself at
Jesus.
I don't even know.
Are you doing the math right now?
Try it. 24.
It's a little less than $1,500 an hour.
$1,500 an hour is what he values himself at?
Yeah. But I mean, right now he's got 150,000 subs for the month. That's a nice chunk of change. I think a lot of us could just live on that for like the next 10 years. It's just crazy. Like, it's been cool. Like, I've been peeping in on it every once in a while to see the timer. And it keeps it's yet to drop below an hour. It keeps getting close. And
to still consider that among all streamers on Twitch, me and you are still like in the top 1. We're in the top 2%, and that is our competition.
Yeah, that's the money that he's making in.
That's our comp. Like
a day.
Being over, I think it was something along the lines of if you're over 5 viewers right now, you're in the top 2% of Twitch. Over 5 average or something. Like it was crazy when I started hearing the numbers. And I think if you're over 11, you're in the top 1% or something along those lines. Like it's insane how that is. And again, but that top 1% is still it's so dispersed.
disparaged.
Just I don't know what word that would be. Yeah, there's a big difference between that.
Word is disparage,
there's a big difference between that 0.01% and 1%, right?
Yeah.
Like it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
The herd mentality of the moment that people are fueling, which I felt kind of leads into your next topic a little bit as well. So
yeah,
maybe.
So yeah, well maybe it might
next internet thing,
So yeah,
maybe it'll be us someday. Fingers crossed.
So why are streamers, this is what I want to say, why are streamers such sheep?
Ooh.
And there's nothing that leads to this. There's nothing like
there's no substantiated evidence.
Yeah, there's no stake or claim to this, right? This is just something in my brain that
just
I
outright calling all streamers sheep.
Yes.
I think you gotta back it up a little bit. You gotta say why you think that.
Well, I will.
Okay,
and I'm saying gamers, right? Not streamers, but gamers,
okay. You
right?
said streamers to start.
Did I say streamers to start?
Let's walk that back for you.
Okay. maybe streamers should be included in that since they're usually playing games. I don't know. We'll see. So I was going off of this. I was going off of this thing because me and Nathan on Monday had a discussion about Harris's other new video, right? Again, it's the Harris Wreckfest is what I know. I love the guy so much. I want to talk about him all the time. So we were talking about his video because it was microphone related, and he did a microphone review. He did a microphone review on the Samson Q9U or some new broadcasting microphone. It's like a $200 $250 USB XLR broadcasting mic that Samson came out with. And he basically, the title of the video was "The SM7B is Dead."
Ooh,
right?
Clickbait?
Yeah, super clickbait. So, oh my God, so bad. Because even in the video, he's like, well, the Q9U, it's terrible out of the box. You got to do a bunch of EQ to it. You could just buy the Shure MPV or MP7 or whatever the other one is, that their USB one, and you get all this nice stuff right out of the box. But you could do it with the Q9, and it's cheaper. And it was this like super clickbaity. But he does go to claim to say, like, I don't know why any streamer would buy the SM7B today or use it, right? There's no reason to get it, blah, 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 blah. He kind of goes off on this little tangent about the SM7B. And it got me thinking about this sort of concept, because it's not just the SM7B. It's not just the Blue Yeti, and no offense to the Yeti, right? It's not just the Blue Yeti. It's not just, anything in particular. It's the fact that overall as a culture, it seems that people flock towards anything that's branded that says gamer on it. Or like, we've had the concept with VR ready. Like VR ready equipment. That doesn't mean anything. That's not a standard. That's not like it's got this special port that all VR equipment has and it's VR ready, right? Like it was a hardware requirement. It was a hardware limitation, not necessarily a compliance like limitation. And just we've gotten to a point as gamers and streamers too. I think I'm going to compass us in there, or some of us, right? Just to the point to where it says, if it says gamer or streamer on it, that's the first thing I need to get, and this is what everybody else has, so I gotta buy that, right? Somebody told me that this is exactly what I needed, so this is what I need, right? There's no research involved.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that on some levels. I think it's, again, just classic human nature across the board is the herd mentality of, this is what people buy. This is the popular brand. This is the, I watch this person and they use this. And I do agree with you. I think they consider that their research. Like, if this keyboard's good enough for Shroud, I play the same games he does, so I'm going to get it too. When, they could hold their mouse different. They could have a different size hand where the mouse, might not be the right fit or right feel for them. There's a lot of stuff like that people don't think about. And it's an allure of having that great gear to be that person when, maybe you need a different mouse or different keyboard.
I mean, and let's not even throw RGB into the mix. Like, I mean, the amount of money.
I'm looking at a lot of different things with lights in front of me right now.
The amount of money that people pay for RGB equipment. I mean, I'm no less the fool, right? That
Fair.
to say like I haven't. I mean, you can look behind me, right? I've invested in some equipment that definitely has pretty colors to it because I like to have it as well. But it's just funny because you take a fan, you take a fan that's like a $15 fan, you throw some multicolored LEDs on it, and all of a sudden that fan's $40, right? Like I'm like those LEDs
the
did
price
not.
jump is not justified at all. Yeah, because the beautiful thing about LEDs is they're very cheap lights, cheap to make, they last a long time, and yet you're right. You know, you slap it on a fan, you slap it in a mouse, all of a sudden it triples in price, and people are like, "Well, it freaking glows." Of course, like take my money, I'll buy it. I don't care if it's the exact same thing as the $20 mouse. This one has colors. I can customize them. Awesome. Which, thankfully, the software is getting a lot better for that. I still think anything to do with PC cases, the RGB software is garbage pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
Corsair, Thermaltake, all of it. And none of them talk to each other. It's just a nightmare.
It's absolutely, I don't know how anybody does it. Like, and I can totally understand. I can totally understand a brand going through that effort. Like Corsair saying, "Oh yeah, ours are only going to communicate over Corsair's whatever code or whatever, you know, I don't know, API or whatever, right? Yeah. It's only going to work on Corsair stuff. It's only going to communicate with other Corsair items because that way you have to buy all Corsair stuff. Yeah. It's not like you can buy like, oh, well, I want my CPU cooler to be this because I think they have the best static pressure fan, but I think Thermaltake has a better high flow fan, so I'm going to go buy the Thermaltake ones over here, and then I'm going to go buy those are the only two fan companies I know. What's the other one? Noctua. I'm going to go buy a Noctua for this case fan or my radiator fans or whatever. I don't know. I'm totally guessing on names here, but Rosewill. I remember Rosewill. That's another one I know.
God, that's the old school Amazon brand as well, or Newegg. It's sold everywhere, but it was definitely like the bottom dollar stuff. And it's because I think if you polled people making computers and stuff like that, even when you're buying stuff from pre-built companies, it's very, very, very rare that all your parts match in your system.
No. Yeah.
You know, even mine, I have a lot of stuff from Gigabyte, but I still have Corsair RAM, Thermaltake fans, an EVGA power supply, you know, but they should talk to each other. Like, learn from these smart homes and stuff, you know, your Google Home, your Alexa. Sure, they have their own smart home products, but they at least have the ability for all the third-party software to work on it too, because they understand some people just might buy some other stuff. So come on.
You're gonna have more people. You're gonna have more people buy it. You're gonna have more people buy it if they could, if it can communicate with everybody. Yeah, and
teamwork.
So getting back to the sheep mentality, right? Yeah. Like getting back to this thing. It's one of those things that like you see it consistently today on Amazon. You go to Amazon and you look up just about 90% of USB microphones, and they're all gonna say podcast or stream or something like that on it. You look up any mouse or any keyboard, right? And it's going to say that it has membrane keys on it. It's got tactile membrane keys or something on it for a gaming keyboard. I'm like those aren't tactile. Those are squishy, right? Like that's not the way a membrane keyboard works, right? But,
super fast, responsive, like all the standard stuff you would expect any of your devices to be.
Yeah. And we're suckers for it, right? Like not everybody. Like there's a lot of people who do a lot of research, and you're going to invest in a product that you really want or you really need, right? And you found the value of it. But there are so many people out there. I mean, I talk to probably every day, right? Every other day, something like that. Maybe every stream, I should say. So that's three out of 7 days a week. Somebody talks about something that they bought or needed or decided that so-and-so had it, so I needed it too. And they had it for a week, and I'm like, what happened? And they're like, oh, it sucked. I didn't want it anymore. It didn't work right. No. I
do. I feel bad for all the people that are coming to PC gaming or things like that for the first time. And you know, sure they could do more research, but there really is a lot out there. I can understand it can be an overwhelming process to like look at 60 different mice and keyboards and parts, and it's like I just want it to work. Which is why all my friends, family, anything like that, I tell them, like, if you want to get anything, just ask me some questions, send me what you're going to get, and I'll tell you if it's passable, if you're buying things you don't need, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I do feel like sometimes companies swindle people, and like you said, they put gaming on something for the keyboard and mouse that's included, and they click on it to add it because sure, it's another $60 or whatever, and they're getting like two $5 products along with their build and stuff. So it's
the gaming packs, right, where you've got like keyboard, mouse, headphones, whatever, like in one little kit for like $50, and you're like, yeah, and you're like, I see them at Best Buy now. They're there, and there's some generic brand that I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't recognize the name at all. And I'm like, again, it could be a diamond. It could be a passable product, right? Again, if you're just getting used to PC gaming and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing anyways, so I just need something cheap to get in and like learn finger placement and learn like learn what to do before I think about trying to actually be fast at what I do. Okay, yeah, I can kind of get behind that maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's one of those things that like I think people need to wake up, do their research, and stop buying products just because on the box it says that it's around the idea of what they're trying to do. Does that sound weird? Right. That sounds weird when I say it. But like using some sort of logic, right? I shouldn't say some sort of logic, but using as an example, my LED lights, I paid $35 for them, right? For the two lights, because they weren't gaming lights. They were lawn and garden. They're like weatherproof, like super solid casings.
For all that indoor rain.
Yeah, for all the indoor rain we get. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they're like these super heavy duty things that I don't.
They'll work though.
Yeah, I didn't need them, but I paid pennies in comparison to like the Nano Leaf, which is like $500 for something that's.
Yeah, stuff unfortunately gets a hype up price because of its. I don't know if I want to say they're. Yeah, I mean, some of it's a clout thing, because they get known in the community for being the product. They have the ability to charge more money, and people pay it. It's going to happen. It is what it is, which is why when we've talked about stuff before, and when you're purchasing things, there's a lot of products where the $100 is just as good as the $200. You start to get to a point where you're paying for the brand name, and you just have to be aware of that. Like, why is this a $500 headset? It's because of the name. You can get the same thing for $200, but if you want to be this one that says, I have my headsets from this company, you're going to pay the price for it.
Yeah, it's been the toughest thing for me. So realistically, speaking of headsets, I really, really, really want the Wireless Pro version of yours.
Wait for your 17-foot cord.
Yeah, I really want the Wireless Pro, the Arctis Pro. It's the Arctis Pro Wireless. Because of the DAC. Simply because it's wireless with the 3.5. It is the only pair of headphones that I can find that are wireless and have a 3.5 millimeter input for the audio source. And I'm like,
there's got to be more out there.
I just don't want to pay $400 or $300.
They're like $250, I think.
No, they're more than that. They got to be more than that. Anyways.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's still $250 is a really, really nice pair of like audiophile headphones. So they have to really justify, that quality in order to do it. But I mean, they might. Having wireless is the one thing. You're right. Like, this thing here is absolutely like.
I mean, I love watching when you're going to grab a drink or something like that. You're tugging on it and whipping it around, and
it's like this bungee cord, and it's all kinds of like it's like everybody in the world has cell phones, and I'm sitting here with a bungee cordless phone stuck to the wall still,
Yeah, no, for sure. And for me, I mean, when I made my switch, it was when I got up for like the 100th time, tripped over the cable, and I was so fed up. I'd like, that's it. Like, sat back down, went online, ordered a pair. I said, screw it. I don't care how much I'm spending. But no, I think the sheep mentality thing comes down to lack of research on people's behalf. One of it, they don't know what to look for. They're lazy, which unfortunately is the truth for a lot of people as well. They just buy into stuff too much and they become a fanboy before they even know it. Fanboy, fangirl, whatever you want to be. And so they just refuse to buy anything else when there's a lot of products out there that are better. And it's unfortunate. It really is. Because I think you're right that you don't necessarily need to buy the name brand to have the best experience, and you don't have to buy something for somebody that, might not work the same for you.
It's like going out. The perfect example for it to me is the end of the original National Treasure movie when that dude's trying to drive out of the estate in the Ferrari and he doesn't know how to drive a manual transmission, right? It's like you're buying a hypercar when you don't know what you're doing, right? And that's the type of logic that I think needs to apply to things like that. Like, I'm totally in support of if you need a $300 keyboard because you need a $300 keyboard, either it has some specific feature you need or it has some sort of special key type, but you need it. Like, there is a definitive difference between the previous one or the one you own now to what you're going to. Like, it, right? You can feel it, you can touch it, you can then it makes sense, right? If that's what you need. But don't just buy it because somebody else has it, right? I mean, unless that person's an affiliate, unless that person's got affiliate link and you're trying to score them some dollars, then that might help out. I don't know.
And that's another good point to make too, that when you see some of these people advertising or pushing these products, do know that 99% of the time they're being paid to do so. So just because they're saying it's the best, it doesn't necessarily mean it is. It means they're getting to put money in their pocket for using said item. They could sign off stream and put all that gear to the side and take out their favorite mouse and keyboard, and you'll never know.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Like, for some reason, like, I'll use Summit. I'll use Summit for an example, right? Could you imagine, like, one time, like, Summit was doing a YouTube video or something, and like his entire like desktop setup was completely different because he was recording off stream or something, like something random, or like he was doing like a video of his office or something, and like somebody left something out that wasn't supposed to be there.
Just catch all this other gear he's just not using at the time. I would love that. Shroud doesn't actually use the Shroud Logitech mouse and keyboard combo, And I say it too because when people need to do their research and stop being cheap, because I also think that you can buy yourself a fancy computer, get all set up, ready to go, sit down, open up that game you've been waiting so long to play, and your experience can be ruined by suboptimal gaming peripherals, headsets, mouse and keyboards.
That's true too. Yeah,
all of it. And that's a big waste of money at that point. The input being given to the computer matters just as much as the graphics that it's displaying for you. I can get behind that. Big hand. I need a mouse that fits well in my big hand.
Yeah, I can get behind.
What do you have?
So I have the Pro Wireless, and then I also had the Model O. What I really like is the Model O minus.
Okay.
The glorious Model O minus, and that's the smaller version of it, right? So I love it. Honestly, I just saw that Glorious came out with a Model O wireless.
Yeah.
And it's not super expensive. I'm slightly tempted. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'd be interested to see, how the reviews go for it in the future on how it continues to hold up. But I could be persuaded to kind of shift back over to that. It's so light, dude. I love it. It's insane.
I mean, I bought a G Pro wireless and I returned it the same day I got it. Too small, too light, just doesn't fit my style. I like, and I think I like having the bungee cord set up. I feel like it grounds me somehow. I don't know. Call me old school. I can't jump on the wireless train yet. Not yet.
One day we'll get you there.
Yeah.
Headphones, but nothing else. And I'm the exact opposite. My everything is wireless except for my headphones. Like, that's the one thing I don't have.
We'll get you there, man. I swear.
One of these days.
I'm almost ready to buy a new set too.
So my final take on this is, ladies and gentlemen, stop being sheep. Think about what you're doing. Just because somebody tells you to do it doesn't mean that that's what you're going to do, or just because it's the golden standard of gaming or the golden standard of Twitch or streaming or YouTube.
Told you,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Do your research first before you buy a product that you are unaware of or unfamiliar with. Don't go out and buy it just because, right? It may be
good.
It may be something amazing. It may be something you actually need, but you don't do it until you can kind of make that. If you can find a Best Buy, go test it out. Go look at it. Go feel it. They'll let you open the box.
Amen, dude.
They'll let you open the box. I mean, come on. Just take your time, figure it out, do the right thing.
That aisle with all the keyboards, I used to love going down there and just like typing and pretending I was playing a game and stuff like that.
The keyboards are all gone. The keyboards are all gone, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, the pandemic kind of ruined that kind of stuff for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to, honestly, you know what I used to do? I used to go to Guitar Center and I used to wear all the headphones, like all the like the $400 headphones in Guitar Center, just to see. I was like,
just to listen to the, like, man, these are amazing.
Oh. Used to love that.
And I think we can let that same mindset, bleed over into other aspects of your life as well. It pretty much goes across the board. Just don't be a sheep. Think for yourself. Do some research. It's not that hard. We all have information at our fingertips. Use it.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude. I think this concludes. We're good. That concludes episode.
Yes, sir. Episode 29 is a wrap.
29. Thank you so much, Hopper, for joining me today. Thank you, everybody in chat, for that was hanging out with us tonight, and all of you that do check us out post-live or post-production, after the show, after party, whatever. Party. Yeah, we're going to the after party next. Go check out twitch.tv/thegamehopper, ladies and gentlemen. Go hang out with him. I will be switching over to my Twitch account as well. We're going to play some Phasmophobia. There's been some interesting updates to it. We're going to go check it out, see what it is. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night, day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day it is. We will check you guys. Yeah, we will check you guys next week.